Everybody, I want you to like this page and share it because I have an opportunity to talk to a very good friend that we have a passion for changing people's lives. And no one that I know can do it like he does. He's a speaker, he's an author, he's my very good friend, and he's an individual that has decided that he's going to live a life that will outlive him. And he has an approach to how to begin to make it during tough times. I often say that faith not tested can't be trusted. And there are a lot of people who are struggling right now. And they have allowed the coronavirus to rob them of their joy, of their hope, of their faith. And they need some tools. There's a saying, if we knew better, we would do better. Scott Schilling is a person who knows better and has been teaching people for decades how to do better during difficult and challenging times. He operates out of the thinking of one who said things may happen around you and things may happen to you, but the only things that really count are the things that happen in you. This is my brother from another mother. Hello, Scott. How are you?
Hello, Les. It is always an honor to be on with you.
Yeah,
Always.
thank you. You just look like fresh money right now.
Well, I'm fresh, that's for sure.
What have you been doing?
You know, just working and talking to people and helping them understand to the very best we possibly can that, you know, coming through what everybody is going through right now, we're all going through the same thing, maybe a little different portion of it here and there, but how you respond to it, the event is the same for the most part for everybody. But if we really want our outcome to be amazing out of this, it's how we respond to that event that is really making the difference right now. And as you and I were talking just before we went live, it really is a choice. You can choose to go, oh, woe is me, the sky has fallen, or you can choose to say, oh, how amazing, look at these opportunities dropping out of heaven. You know, it's one or the other.
Yeah. You've been through your own ups and downs. Life has kicked your butt real good too.
Multiple times.
Yeah, you understand the scripture that says, think it not strange that you're faced the fiery furnaces of this world. You will, not you might. You will have tribulations. What is the primary message that you think that people need to know when they're struggling and going through evictions or losing their job or their business is closing down? I read something today, and the article said that this person had a choice between going to work and risking their lives or staying home with the children and starving to death. Tough choices.
There's not a doubt that there's some really tough choices out there. And I think you said it earlier in such a great way. It really comes down to a big part of getting through here is faith. Because by definition, it's belief in the unseen and assurance of the unknown. We haven't seen it. We haven't experienced it, but we understand that we can live to it and through it. And the reality is there are tough choices out there today. There's not a doubt about it. But you're not the only one going through those tough choices. There are other people as well. And I really think a big part of God's plan, number one, I think it's a little bit of putting us all in time out. I think he's trying to get us to get our act together. But the other side of that is that we really understand, and I said this yesterday in a show that I did, I will not social distance. I will absolutely physical distance to be safe, but we are social beings, and I will not social distance. I am going to get socially closer.
You said you will not social distance?
I will not social distance. I will physical distance for safety.
Okay, explain to me the difference between social distance and physical distance?
Well, physical distance is a measure between us, may be 6 feet, if that's what everybody is suggesting. We're physically 6 feet apart. But even at 6 feet apart, I can be social with my friend Les Brown. I
Yeah.
can I can communicate to him. I can work to feel his heart and get information from him and to him. We are social beings. We
Hmm.
need that social interaction today more than anything. So
Yeah.
what you're doing with this show as an example is absolutely phenomenal. You are, in fact, physical distancing because most people would normally see you standing on a stage not too far from them.
Hmm.
But you are not socially distanced. You are, in fact, upping your social game by being on more lives and by serving more without the physical limitations that have been placed on us.
How do you find opportunities when you are going through an experience of being foreclosed or losing your job or your business is going under? How do you have the clarity of mind to look
Well, I
at
think I
this?
think you just said something very important there. I think you have to have a strategy. You have to have a clarity of mind. But mine is, again, I'm talking to more people day in and day out
Hmm.
than I have ever talked to in a single day,
Yeah.
other than, when we're in an arena talking to mass groups of people. But I mean, as far as individual, one-on-one, one-on small number conversations, there are far more of those going on. So how do you find the opportunity? It's not about wallowing in the problem. It's about saying, here's what I'm going through. Here are the things that I've thought of. How about you, Les? Man, you're an incredible thinker. What kind of things have you come up with? And what I think happens if we increase our conversation rate, all of a sudden the information that comes out of those conversations are where the opportunities lie. All of a sudden somebody says something, you go, man, I would have never thought of that on my own. That's amazing.
Yes. Now, you said that today's activity does not determine today's volume. Please explain that.
Well, again, I heard this, you know, how, both you and I, Les, you have been such a great inspiration to me in my life. And I just love anytime we're at an event together or have the opportunity to be there. Man, I'm sitting there taking notes on you like crazy because you've got such great wisdom. Well, similarly, back in 1984, I know I don't look like I could have been alive then, but yeah, I was. It's not funny, Les. Anyway, the point is, in 1984, there was a gentleman by the name of Maynard Garfield, and he was doing this training. And he said, today's activity does not determine today's volume. And I thought about that a second and I wrote it down. And then he continued. He said, today's volume is done because of what happened 30, 60, 90 days ago. Today's activity determines what happens 30, 60, 90 days from now.
Mm.
Wow, that was profound. Obviously, in 1984 to now, I quote it all the time. So it's not where you are today. Where you are today is where you are today. Whether you've come through this thing with the faint smell of smoke or whether you've been on fire, the fact is you are where you are. But today, from this is the rest of your life. And it's what you start doing today, like watching Les Brown, like going back and retrieving some archives of your great works, because you're such an inspiration to so many all the time. And hey, guess what? I do some of what you do, but I still need the juice. I still need to go back and get charged too.
I do too.
Well, exactly. And so, again, I think that if we understand that today is a demarcation point, just put a pin on the calendar that says, you know what, December 1st is here. Thank God, thank goodness. Let's look at what's going. And let's get ready to finish the year strong and get into 2021 even better.
Whenever I see you, you are always so positive, and I love it. When I see you, it's like when we connect, it's like we haven't been apart, even though it's been some time since we've communicated. What are some of the tips that you would give people on how to be up during down times, how to stay positive?
Well, I think one of the ways, again, it's a choice. So
Mhm.
you make the choice. But another thing that I choose to do is I utilize my language in what I do. See, I say, hey, less is, or there are people here that are really positive, and then there are some that are less than positive. Notice I don't even say the other word. I just say positive and less than positive. And I think that people say, oh, come on, is it that simple? Yeah, it kind of is, because it becomes a mindset. There has never been a time where I have been in the presence of Les Brown that I have seen him down or not just ready to pour into somebody else. Now, I know you've been through a few things yourself. And
Yes.
so I know the reality is there have been some of those down times. But I think very similarly, I think you've chosen to be up because, again, we have a choice. We can be up or down. Well, who wants to be somebody around somebody who's down? Again, if we're social beings and we want to be a positive impact on other social beings, the only way to be at that point is positive. So again, I think some of the tips are your languaging. They're instead of, so many people look for people doing things wrong. How about looking and catching people doing things right and then giving them a little pat on the back and saying thank you? And, it just, my wife and I were just over at the bank a little bit earlier. We're doing some stuff getting ready for 2021. And I walked out of the bank and I said, that is that bank brand's best representative I have ever met in 20 years of doing business with that banking organization. That's how positive and powerful that person was. That over 20 years of relationship, I hadn't met anybody like that at that organization. It's a choice. We all have it. I know it's not always easy. I'm not trying to make light of that. But you know what? It's feel it, feel the hurt, feel the pain, feel the whatever, and then let it go. Because there's a pretty good manual that says all things work together for my good.
Mhm.
It doesn't say all things are going to be good. It doesn't say all things are going to be easy, but it does say all things work together for my good.
Yes.
Find the find the good in the less than good that's out there.
How do you go from just surviving to thriving? Because what it takes to thrive is different than what it takes to survive. Dogs and cats, they survive. So how do you jump up to that next level, have a breakthrough in that area?
Well, I think another part of that is the opportunities that are out there. I know that there are a lot of people and a lot of businesses that are tremendously hurting, and I empathize, and it hurts my heart for them. At the same time, there are same people in the same environment that are experiencing their greatest year ever. What's the difference? I was actually talking to Jack Canfield about this the other day, and he said the difference between CEOs and companies that are thriving right now and those that are either surviving or already gone are the top leadership got together with somebody else and started to share ideas back and forth. In other words, they got social. They started going through the process of, well, what's working for you? What's working for you? What's not working well? They found out best practices. And I think that that's the point. Do we have to change the way we do things? Absolutely. But Les, you've been a road warrior for so many years. I used to think I had a lot of miles till I talked to you, and the fact is, I would say, and I've told you this privately, I think some of the inspiration you're providing over these videos as of late are by far your best work. I mean, you have dialed it in because of, I think, the need of the audience. But the fact is, you're not on and off planes and traveling, and you're fresh.
Mm.
And your freshness is showing.
Thank you. Well, I enjoy speaking virtually, and I have a good time doing it. I'd like to know, how does your faith play into this and what's going on now? What role does your faith play?
Well, again, the reality is, if we understand the definition of faith, well, actually, the definition of faith is the exact same definition of fear. Both words share the exact same definition. Belief in the unseen, assurance of the unknown. That's the definition for fear. It hasn't happened yet, and you don't know that it's going to, but for some reason you believe it will. Well, that's fear. And then you're all bound up and you can't really move forward. In fact, again, Jack and I were talking about this the other day, and he said, in order to go from where you are today into fear, you first have to leave the present and you have to step into an imagined future.
Mm.
That's negative. Well, faith is belief in the unseen, assurance of the unknown. And so faith is also leaving the present, but it's stepping into an imagined future that's positive.
Mm.
I know we're going to come through this. How do I know? I know that because, number one, you and I have been built for a time like this.
Yes.
I mean, we really have. We now the only question is, do we answer the call and do what we can do to share messages with others to encourage them to latch on to their greatness? You've said it for years. You gotta be hungry.
Yes.
I do a bad Les Brown. but really, it's you wouldn't be in business if you didn't have faith. Why can I say that? I can say that 100% because you have belief in the unseen. Nobody's walked into your store yet, but you believe somebody will. Assurance of the unknown. And once they're there, they're going to buy, but they're not there yet. See, you'd have to have faith to have a business or you wouldn't be there. So we're all acting on faith. The question is, how much do you trust and support it? And I know that the less than positive things that have happened in my life have been the test so that I can give the testimony of, if I can do it, you can do it too. I'm nothing special. I'm just a guy who fought through some stuff,
Yes. How important is taking action in the middle of a storm, not stopping?
Well, I think that's the biggest thing is you're going to be off course in life far more than you're ever going to be on course.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but the only way to get any feedback is to take a step. And it's only after that step do you know if you're going in the right direction or the wrong direction. But you have to take action. I had a client one day and she said, Scott, you don't seem to understand. I'm stuck. I said, good, move. And she goes, no, you don't get it. I'm stuck. And I said, no, I get it. You're stuck. Move. And she goes, I'm stuck. I said, I know, move. She goes, what are you saying? I said, can you feel your right foot? She goes, yeah. I said, move it. She goes, okay, I did. I said, good, you're not stuck anymore. The fact is, there's people understand fight and flight in a situation like we're in today. But there's actually a third possibility, and that's freeze. And that's the one that so many people are in right now. The fight, I know, stand up, I'm going to take you on. The flight, I know, I'm going to run like crazy. But it's the freeze where they get stuck and they take no action whatsoever and let the environment and let the events act on them as opposed to them acting on the events or the environment. When you take action, spoiler alert, you're going to take more wrong actions than right actions, by the way. But at least you're going to be able to get some feedback to now determine which way you'll go from there. And that's the only way to accomplish it.
If you're just joining us, I'm talking with Scott Schilling. He's a powerful, electrifying speaker, author, my very good friend. He's been changing thousands of people's lives around the world. And I want to ask this last question that it only takes I. It only takes I.
No, it only takes one.
Excuse me. It only takes one. What does that mean to you?
Well, it only takes one means it only takes one person to change your life. It only takes one person or one situation to make things better. It only takes one interaction to find the woman of your dreams. It only takes one action to move you from where you are. See, you don't have to. I understand it's a confusing time. It's confusing for me too, by the way. Sometimes people look at speakers and authors and coaches and say, you guys got it all knocked. Not me. I don't. I'm not trying to suggest I do. But what I'm doing is I'm calling on years of experience and things that I've fought through before. We've been through recession before. I've been through major injuries before. I went through a near-death experience. Heck, I was dead and I came back. I've fought through some things. Now, again, I'm not special. I've had that experience. It only takes one experience to move you in the right direction for the rest of your life. You're that close. It doesn't take 50, 60, 70. It only takes one at a time. And so, again, my encouragement, I thank you so much for this opportunity, Les, to be on with you. It only takes one time for me to be on Les Brown's show to have somebody.
We got too much work we got to do together. How old are you now, Scott?
62.
I've got T-shirts older than you.
I know that.
I'm 75, my brother. All right.
I know.
Let me tell you something. We got a lot of work to do. We're going to do a lot of interviews to do, and we got a lot of lives to change together. And I just love who you are and how you've shown up. And you are a consistent friend and a person who passion is changing people's lives. What is one major goal that you'd like to achieve to close out your life? What does that look like?
It's a pretty big one.
What is it?
Return respect, honor, and dignity to the planet. You know, respect is how you look at someone else. Honor is how you lift someone else up. And dignity is how you look at yourself for doing the first two.
For my brother, that'll preach.
Well, thank you. The fact is, I really want to return respect, honor, and dignity to the planet. You know I almost remember back to the first time we met, and you were so powerful. And I said, man, if I could ever be like that, if I could ever learn from a man like that, and then share some of that wisdom, because I know you find this hard to believe. We're a little different. we are brothers from another mother.
Yes.
The fact is that I'll never forget that day and how powerful you were. And to see all you've accomplished, you know, the accolades are wonderful. And I know that makes you feel great. But I know you well enough to know that it's the lives you changed
Mhm.
or the lives you improved that is what's really important to you. And you've been such a great representation of that. I want to do my part too. And I think if we can return respect to the world, we don't all have to agree with everything. We don't all have to, but we should respect each other, that we each have our right to what we believe. And we can have a conversation in a civil manner. Honor is just something that, my goodness, you know, I'm at that age where it, I wasn't in the military. I kind of caught that gap where I didn't have to be. Um, but there's so many, you know, our armed forces, our police and fire, our first responders that have done so much for so many and are just not being treated with the honor that they have earned. And then the dignity is just that. Hold yourself up to a different level. I mean, we all have that. That's self-awareness, that's self-policing, that's doing all those kinds of things. And if I can make any kind of impact on that and make the clock tick a notch, I think I've done something pretty good.
Ladies and gentlemen, just joining us, this is my very good friend, Scott Schilling. And if you have an event and you need a speaker, corporation, business, church, he is a speaker that I highly recommend and respect and honor. He is a mentor of me and thousands of others, and he is a giver. He's an individual that it's who he is. He can't help himself. Scott Schilling, how can they reach out to you? What's your website?
Well, you can go to scottschillingspeaks.com.
Spell your last name because it's not on the screen.
Yeah, SCHILLING, scottschillingspeaks.com, or email me. Man, I'd love to hear from you. Scott@scottschilling.com. I love having conversations after talks like this, because there's just so much that comes up that's so good. And I want to thank you, Les, for all this and everything you've done for me and so many for so many years. And brother, you only like about halfway there, I think.
Well, I'm 75.
I know you got work to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been overtime. Listen, Scott, thank you so much. I can't wait for us to share the stage together again.
I'm looking forward.
We're going to do it virtually.
Yeah, I look forward to it. We'll do it again soon. Thank you, my
All
friend.
right. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Scott Schilling, a dynamic, powerful speaker, a great friend, a man who respects you, loves you, and who believes that greater is he that's in you than he that's in the world. He brings out your greatness like no one else can. Thank you, my brother. Bye for now.
Wow.
Take care.